Hey friends, how are you doing in 2025? I just wanted to make a video today because I had made a video earlier on about living in the Dominican Republic and why we're so moving here. So today I just thought I'd follow up with that and give you some information that I have discovered that I thought was really, really very interesting. So okay, let's dive right on in. Did you know that the number of people moving to Dominican Republic in 2025 has gone up to 35,306? That's a lot of neighbors, right? So here are five reasons that I found that I wanted to talk about that has made Dominican Republic continue to be very appealing to expats. Okay, number one. And I'm just going to be reading some of the statistics because it's hard to keep track of all of that in my head. So, it has increased to 35,306 people in 2025. We're just at the beginning of the year. So, there are now a total of 90,722 expats. And I'm talking about expats from everywhere, not just US, Canada, it's from all over. Okay? The expat community is growing so fast. It has grown by 1.58% since last year. Can you believe that? Now, many expats say they love the weather, the locals are friendly, they have a lot of activities here. But we're gonna go a little bit deeper and just weather and friendly and communities because there's a lot more to unpack here. Why a lot of people are still finding the Dominican Republic appealing to move to in 2025. So let's keep going. So let's dive into some details on living in the Dominican Republic. Now, I've been here, this is going to be my sixth year, and I have been going back and forth. I lived here continuously for about 2 years. I lived here during COVID, and I was here during the shutdowns and lockdowns. It was a crazy time. Okay. So let's start off with cost of living. I will give you a walkthrough of my apartment when we're done in another video so you can see what you get for $600. And I'm in Portugal. So, okay, so cost of living. The cost of living in the Dominican Republic is relatively, I would say, low compared to most of other Western countries, okay? For example, a family of four might spend around $2,165 per month in without rent. That's not including rent in Western country. While a single person actually might spend about 600 to 700 a month without rent. I'm not going to tell you the exact countries because I haven't delved into that much of the statistics as to each country. But renting a one bedroom in the city center, and that's like Santo Domingo, you could even say Santiago, it's going to be about $355 a month. And it can go up a little higher depending on the neighborhood and your budget, really. You can find low and you can find high. So it all depends on your budget and what you're comfortable with. So these are not like written in stone. This is just a general, okay? So a three bedroom can cost you about 700. We're gonna get into that three bedroom because that's what I have, and I'm gonna show you what I got for 600. Okay. So the next thing, and this would be probably number two, is the crime rate. Okay, the Dominican Republic is a developing country. I wouldn't call it anymore a third world country. I would call it a developing country. And it has a higher crime rate compared to some other countries. Now, I'm from Jamaica originally. and I've been living in the States since I was a little girl. So I can tell you that Jamaica has, based on the information that I've, gotten over the years from people who's lived there, personal family experiences, and what they report is that I think it's due to the amount of the citizens, how many people live in Jamaica, the crime rate is pretty high. And I don't think it's hard to fact check that, but the crime rate is pretty high in Jamaica in certain areas. It seems to be confined to certain areas, but it can happen anywhere. I mean, nowhere, no one is exempt from crime, actually. So the intentional homicide rate is about 10.54 per 100,000 people. So common crimes include like robbery, petty theft, especially in tourist areas. You hear about people getting their phones snatched off a car seat. If you leave something in plain sight, like a friend of mine came to visit, and we were with a Dominican who is a good friend of ours, and he left the phone under the car seat with the door open, and when we came back, the phone was gone. Okay, so you just like anywhere else, it's crimes of opportunity. All right, so you might have the occasional kidnapping. Since I've been here, I have not heard of a kidnapping. So I don't know where that came in, but if you guys have heard of any kidnapping, please let me know. So it's important to stay vigilant. I mean, no matter where you are, don't just let your guard down. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And even though I've been out of Brooklyn for, oh my God, since it's been a long time. I left New York, I would say over 20 years. And I lived in Florida, I lived in London, I lived in quite a few places in quite a few states. And I also do travel nursing, so I move around a lot. So it's important to stay vigilant no matter where you are, take precautions, especially in high crime areas like Jamaica. All right? My husband is a police officer. He doesn't even like Santo Domingo. So he's been a cop for a long time. So that's a video for another time. All right. So the weather. The weather. Dominican Republic is a tropical climate. It's the Caribbean. I mean, literally, it's the Caribbean. The only difference is that they speak Spanish. Some other countries speak French. Some speak English. Some speak Dutch. It's the Caribbean, right? So it has a tropical climate with temperatures. It's moderate all year round. The average temperatures range from 24 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 75 to 82. That's the average. Okay. There are two main seasons: the wet season, and I thought we were in the wet season. But believe me, we just went through it. We had about, I would say, 2 months of non-stop rain. I have never seen anything like this before. I mean, we actually had to move because we were in a brand new apartment and it was overwhelming. We had so much filtration, and I'm going to what filtration is, that we were literally being forced out of our bedroom. There was another bedroom we couldn't sleep in now. The bathrooms were leaking. We were being forced slowly into the room where we ended up sleeping for the last month and a half in the living room on our. We had a thank God we had an open up couch and we slept on the floor. It was challenging to say the least. We got sick. We got respiratory tract infections. We had throwaway clothes. We had mold. It was not fun. It really wasn't. So there are two main seasons: the wet seasons, which is from May to November, and the dry season, which is from December to April. So I guess we're now in the dry season because we really haven't had any rain, so to speak, now for about 2 weeks, like really heavy, consistent rain. We've had little drizzles and drops. Um, last maybe about 15 minutes, 20 minutes for the last 2 weeks, but nothing consistent. Nothing like what we had before. I mean, we had like serious flooding. And the North Coast, from what I understand, has never really had a flooding problem. So we had big floods. And I can tell you because family members of ours were displaced, lost stuff, so it was actually personal. They're still trying to recover from it. So the country may experience original hurricanes from June to November. I lived in Florida for a long time. Florida is an hour and a half away from Florida. And I know our hurricane season starts from June and it ends in November. So it's just about the same. Just about the same. So the next number three, actually one, two. So number four is politics. Now, I don't get too involved in politics, and some people are really into the politics of the country, but I still consider myself, I'm not even a resident. Although I'm married to a Dominican and I've been here for a while, I haven't gone through the process of getting my residency, so I would say that is the next thing I will be dealing with, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, the Dominican Republic is a representative democracy, right? With a multi party system. The president is both the head of state and the head of government. The country has a history of political stability, although there have been periods of political tension and corruption. And I think corruption still reigns. Maybe not as much as before, as overtly, but there has been corruption, and it continues. Believe me, it does. Um, Next on the list is home ownership availability. Now, home ownership is relatively accessible in the Dominican Republic. Now, I'm coming from the United States, and I can tell you, my son has been trying to buy a house for however long he can. It's just unaffordable. It's pretty much unaffordable now for a lot of young people, maybe because of the prices, what you need to get into it, how much money, the interest rates. It's a lot. Credit is so much to get into a house in the United States. The real estate market here offers a variety of options. Now, I haven't bought yet. Sorry for that. I haven't bought yet. I was in the process the other day, and things happened, and I decided to wait until I became a resident before I bought. But it's still in motion. So the real estate market offers a variety of options, and that goes from affordable apartments to luxury homes. So we've seen some of the villas here. They're beautiful. They're huge. You can get nice apartments. You can get small apartments. It depends on the areas and your budget. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over again. It depends on the area and your budget. Okay? The average price for a one bedroom apartment again in the city center is about $355, and that's per month. And a three bedroom can run you up to 700 and more. And I can tell you there's an and more because we're just down the road from my son. One of my sons that actually lives here, and we're paying 600 for a three bedroom, two bath, and he's paying 975 for a three bedroom, two bath with maid quarters. So, and it's gated and it has security. We have security. We don't have a gate. It's a pretty nice neighborhood, but we have security at night. It comes from I think from 6 to 6, and he patrols and he's outside. So okay, so that's the apartment. Now mortgage interest rates are around 12.89% for a 20-year term. Now we had applied for a mortgage, my husband and I. We had applied. We were in the process of moving to Dominica, and we had applied for a mortgage, and I don't think interest rate was 12.89. That's high. The interest rate I think was about 6%, maybe because it's Dominican. I'm not sure. And that was with a 65%. They were going to give us let me rephrase that. They would have finance up to 65% of the mortgage. We would have to pay the difference. And if I were a Dominican resident, they would have financed up to 95. So that's something to think about. Um, so that again is just some basic information on living here. So the next thing I want to talk about is the educational system. Now my kids are grown. One of them lives here, one lives in the States. And I hear other expats who have smaller children talk about, international schools and how expensive they are. So the Dominican Republic has a four-stage educational system. One is early childhood, and it's for children between 0 to 6 years. So it's like preschool, and it's called Nivel Insignial. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. And the next one is the primary education, which is called Nivel Nivel Básico, and that is compulsory, and that's free for children aged 6 to 12. The next one is a secondary education, and that's called Nivel Medio. And it's free, but it's not mandatory for students 12 to 18. So, here we're going to see now. It's a lot of, from what I'm told, you don't have to go to school between 12 and 18 if you don't want to. It's not mandatory. That is crazy to me. Like, I don't get that. And then there's higher education, and then it's called Nivel Superior. And that includes universities and other tertiary institutions. So there it is. That's your educational system. Now, that whole thing about not having to go to school between 12 and 18 to me is crazy, because I just feel that you're still, but you're 12 years old, you're barely a teenager. You're still developing. So I don't understand why they don't make that mandatory. I don't understand that. Anyway, let's move on. So we have requirements to live here, and the requirements to live here legally. And I say legally because a lot of expats just come here and they overstay. It's 30 days, but we all overstay and we just pay the fee when we leave based on how long we've overstayed over 30 days. But I think that's about to change. I'm going to go into that in a minute. I'm going to go into that in a minute because that is, that's a little scary. So we can get scooped up, and deported back too. So we need to start doing things right, okay? So to legally reside in the Dominican Republic, you need a residence visa. Okay, there are several types of residence visas, including the family ties visa, and that is a visa for family reunions. Okay, and then you have the investor visa. That's for those invested in the country. Then you have the retiree visa. That's for retirees with sufficient financial means. Then we come on to the student visa. Student visa is for students studying in the country. I had a good friend who was studying to be a doctor, and he came to the Dominican Republic, and he was able to stay here and finish his medical training. And he said it was really very good when he came, because he couldn't get into one of the states. It was just the cost was so high, and the waiting list was so long, and he had finished all his educational requirements. Now he needed to do his internship and his residency, and he couldn't He couldn't get it, so he came to DR and he finished up, and then he came back to the States, and he actually worked for a very well-known hospital in South Florida. He's actually a neurologist, so he did well here, and he did not speak Spanish, so but he finished. Okay. Then you have the business visa, and those are for employment purposes. Now I know most people are coming here to be employed. I don't think so, because if you're coming from so-called first world country, you're gonna come here to work. I think when you come here, you should know what your resources are. You should already, plan to have something in place so that when you come here, you either open a business if you're not ready for retirement, or you have some income coming from your respective country, or you're retired, you have a fixed income. To come here to work for the wages that most Dominicans make here, to me, would make any sense. Well, who am I? I don't judge anybody. So most visitors from countries like Canada, United States, European Union, and many others do not need a visa to enter the country. And that's for a short stays, like I said, 30 days, right? However, for longer stays, you will need to apply with a residence visa at the Dominican consulate in your respective country. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We don't normally do it that way, but I think we need to start making some changes, because I think changes are coming down. Overstaying your visa can result in fines, deportation, and a ban of re-entry, and I don't think any of us want that. It's important to follow the law and the visa regulations with avoid these penalties. So, my next topic, and this one applies to a lot of people because I'm in quite a few chat groups, and I hear is always the chatter about banking. I myself have 3 bank accounts. I have La Nacional, and why I like them is because you can take out up to $1,000 a day from the ATM. You don't even have, as long as there's money in the ATM, you can take out up to $1,000 a day. I also have, and they're very pro mortgages for expats. They're very expat friendly. Let me put it that way. And I have an account with Bank of Santa Cruz. That was the easiest one to get. All you needed was someone to vouch for you, a Dominican, somebody with a cedula. We went into the bank. I brought my passport. Whatever they asked for, a letter from the bank saying that I was in good standing, that I had a bank account in the States, and I opened my account. Now, it's getting a little bit harder because they're asking now for social security card. They want they want to see your pay stubs for the last 6 months. What else? They want, you don't necessarily need somebody to vouch for you, but it's a lot more requirements. It's definitely changed. It's become a little stricter. And I also have an account with who else? I know I have La National and I have Bank of Santa Cruz. I have 2 accounts with Bank of Santa Cruz. I have a peso and I have a dollar account with Bank of Santa Cruz. And I have a peso and I have a dollar account with La National. And my husband has an account with La National. We have to join together. And he also has an account which he had before we got married with Bank of Service, which is the country's national bank. So there's like 3 bank accounts. Wish there was enough money to show when 3 accounts. No, but that's another topic for another day. Okay, so the banking system is pretty modern. I would say sometimes they're a little slow. Like everything is trying to pay low. You go into the bank and it's this one or that one, and you wait and It's not a lot of automation. Everything. Back in the '60s, going back, you could do a lot of things online. You can do a lot of things even at the ATM. And the tellers, they try to keep it moving here. It can be a slow process. You can get a little frustrated. And especially if you go to the bank on a day when there's a lot of people coming into the bank, it can get very, very frustrating. So, we're going to talk about banking on another video.